What's going on, guys? Zuko back with another Dragonflight video. How is everybody doing? I hope you are having a wonderful day. We're going to talk about Prot Paladin today, something that I have been trying in dungeons, and I've just been kind of getting up to speed. I don't have like any gear on this thing yet, so just always keep that in mind. But I do have a plus 10 ruby life pools to show you, and then I've been doing some dungeons since then. What did we do? We did a plus... we got the relay pools. We did a 13 burial ground because we 3-chested this life pools, and then I was going to do another dungeon, but everybody had to leave. So I just want to talk about my impressions of Prot Paladin in Dragonflight now. A little quick, like where we came from in Shadowlands, and like this is like my first time really getting into it in a decent key level. And if you guys haven't picked up a tank at all in this expansion, I would really highly recommend Prot Paladin. This thing is so much fun. And let me just go over some of the basics with you. Then I'll get to the dungeon footage really quick, and we can just highlight some of the reasons why you might want to pick Prot Paladin as a tank. If you're thinking of picking up a tank, what are the reasons for that? What would be a really good reason for it? Well, number one, the playstyle of Prot Paladin is really cool. You're basically like a second healer with a bunch of armor on. That's kind of how it works. And in Mythic Plus, in particular, because of Hand of the Protector, you are really function as a secondary healer, and you can absolutely save, you know, keys from ripping if you use your Word of Glories correctly, and you're able to just basically full heal people. Like in this dungeon, I think I had, what was my Word of Glory? I had a Word of Glory hit for 267,000 health. The average was 84,000, and I had a couple of regular 158,000. So if you think about that, when you're in a dungeon, people are taking crazy amounts of damage. You can just be that secondary healer. You can buy your healer time to save the situation, to salvage whatever's going on. So I really love that playstyle as a tank. I love having that support that I'm able to bring to the rest of the group. And of course, you have support in so many other ways. Things like Blessing of Protection. 1 minute Blessing of Sacrifice now is really crazy. Extra healing from Judgment, Golden Path. You really function as that secondary resource, that support kind of beacon for your team to help you guys time the key. And on top of that, well, along with the spec side, you're able to do a crazy amount of damage with all the Avengers shield buffs that we've gotten. So, excuse me. Let me talk about what has changed a little bit from Shadowlands. So in Shadowlands, the big change that came over is that Avengers shield no longer gives holy power in Dragonflight. In Shadowlands, it used to give you holy power when you threw it. Now it doesn't. However, if you press Divine Toll, that still does give you 5 holy power as long as you hit 5 enemies. So you still have that similar gameplay style. You just have to get used to not getting a holy power from Avengers shield. And some people hate that, but it's just the way it is. Really, your holy power generation comes from Judgment now, and Crusader's Judgment is a big part of that. Judgment gets 2 charges. Grand Crusade cools down Judgment. That's this passive right here, which is proccing all the time. So basically, you have 3 charges of holy power from Blessed Hammer and 2 charges of holy power from Judgment. That is more than enough because you have other cooldowns that really allow you to generate more resources. And this spec is now more than ever about your cooldowns. It's all about just cycling through different cooldowns. So what do we actually have for defensive cooldowns? We're talking about Ardent Defender, 20% DR. That's great. Eye of Tyr, 25% DR. That's also great. We have a new Avenging Wrath modifier called Sentinel, which basically just gives you 30% damage reduction, and then it slowly falls off over time. So that's an additional DR right there. We've got 3 so far. Guardian of Ancient Kings, 50% DR. That's a 4th one. You got Final Stand with Divine Shield. That's a 5th cooldown that you can use to keep yourself alive. And then you have a couple of like minor ones like Divine Toll, which generates shields from your Bulwark of Order. So that gives you, and then it gives you a bunch of holy power to play around with. And Bastion of Light, which is amazing. Your next 3 spenders are free. So there are multiple moments in dungeons where like I just pop Bastion of Light if our team's getting wrecked, and I just start just wogging everybody. Wog for you, wog for you, wog for you. Everybody's fine. If the healer's struggling, you can really save the situation that way. So there are so many cooldowns to work with on Prot Paladin, and the really cool part about it as well is that you're basically cooling down you're cooling down all these major abilities all the time. So first of all, you have Resolute Defender. When you're spending holy power, you cool down Ardent Defender and Divine Shield. Those are 2 of them. And then we have Righteous Protector. You cool down Avenging Wrath and Guardian of Ancient Kings by 3 seconds when you spend holy power. And then I actually should take 1 point into Gift of the Golden Valkyrie. I gotta change my tree a little bit. But basically, each enemy hit by Avenger's Shield. Each enemy hit by Avenger's Shield reduces the cooldown of Guardian of Ancient Kings. That's really broken. So basically, all the time with Prot Paladin, you are just cycling through your cooldowns because they're always going to be coming back up. You don't ever have to worry about, oh my god, am I going to be down a cooldown? You can just cycle one after the other, and you'll be completely fine. So you run into a pack and you can pop like Eye of Tyr right off the bat. Boom. Okay, I got my big shield up. I'm basically invincible for a while, for about 8 seconds there. 9 seconds, sorry. And then when that's done, I can pop my Sentinel. There, now I have 30% damage reduction for a while, and I can kind of extend that. 30% more max HP as well, okay? So I have that rolling. Then let's say, boom, that falls off. Then I can pop Ardent Defender. I've got another one. So then that's rolling for a little while, and that has a cheat death component as well, okay? That's going, if I really need to stay alive and I'm in a really big pickle, I pop Divine Shield. That's going to taunt everybody nearby with Final Stand, right? So it's fine, absolutely fine. Oh, it just taunted a creature and I just killed it. Then, if I'm running out of resources again, oh my god, I still have Guardian of Ancient Kings. Haven't even popped this sucker yet. 50% DR, boom, I've got that. Remember, you always want to have your Consecration down as well because it gives you damage reduction. And then boom, I'm out of cooldowns. I'm going to pop Bastion of Light, and I'm just going to wog myself 3 times in a row. I got a free wog actually right there from Divine Purpose. So I got 4 wogs in a row. Now I'm actually still fine. Oh my god, I'm about to die again. I can pop Divine Toll to get a bunch of shields, and then guess what? My cooldowns are coming back. Eye of Tyr is back again. I can press that again, and then I can wait for... All these other ones will have already cooled down, by the way, because all of my abilities get cooled down by just me pressing my normal button. So this is the gameplay loop for Prot Paladin. You're just cycling through big cooldowns, keeping yourself alive, and it's very, very fun to play, and it's very powerful. Okay, let's get to the dungeon footage here. One thing that is just so awesome about Prot Paladin, again, talking about the playstyle of Prot Paladin versus like Prot Warrior, which would be the other blocking tank. Prot Paladin gets to block spells because of Holy Shield. And this is a very significant difference between Prot Paladin and Prot Warrior. So basically, there's a really good incentive to invest in block for Prot Paladin, and you can actually invest in mastery to get block, but there's a bunch of talents that give you block. When you cast Avenger's Shield, you get block. At the end of your Shield of the Righteous, you can get block, and then they're actually going to be buffing a talent down in the lower section, which says when you Word of Glory, you get block as well. So block is really good because it obviously stops physical damage from coming in, which is really good, but it also blocks spells. Your block chance has a chance to block spells, and that is so critically important because magic damage tends to be one of the most frustrating things to deal with as a tank. It's always difficult just to deal with magic damage in general, most of the tanks. Some of them have a little bit of better time than others, but realistically, that's the worst damage that's coming in is magic damage. Most tanks have a really good ability to block physical damage. So I think Prot Paladin has a very unique kind of niche here, is that they're able to block spells, and they're able to also reduce the effect. They're also able to block periodic spells. So there's a passive that I don't think is talked about very much for Prot Paladin, which is when you're standing in your Consecration, your block chance applies to periodic magic effects that are coming in to try and get you. So that means like magic dots. We just pulled a bunch of extra here. Again, this is a great moment right here where you can see there's a potential to panic here because we pulled a bunch of extra stuff. I just popped my Divine Shield, so I'm fine. I bought myself 8 seconds of freedom, so I'm staying alive. We pulled even more, but again, we have cooldowns rolling, and my cooldowns are all coming back. I've got Bastion of Light coming back. Eye of Tears coming back. Divine Toll's up right now. There's always options for Prot Paladin. It feels like you've always got something just around the corner. So I'm not ever worried about it at all. But yeah, the ability to block spells is really big, and the ability to block periodic effects is also really significant. That's a change that wasn't in Shadowlands and is now a part of the Prot Paladin kit, which I think is very, very strong. Magic dot damage is probably the worst type of damage a tank can take. Any tank. You basically just have to heal it up with healing or try to block it with shields. Like there's no really good magic defense that a lot of the tanks have. So the fact that Prot Paladin gets this is super, super significant in my mind. Now, this is the Meladrusa fight. This is a little bit silly because the Arcane Mage just absolutely pops off here. I didn't realize he was going to be doing this much damage, but he does, which is cool. I'm not angry about it at all, but it doesn't really let me get to test anything on this fight whatsoever. But realistically on this fight, as a Prot Paladin, you have so many tools to help your team. You're able to heal people who have to take that big circle out, and the amount of damage that does is substantial on higher keys. You can, you know, Blessing of Spell Warding somebody. I think Blessing of Spell Warding might actually be a really good thing to take in this dungeon in particular. But I didn't have it here because I was just sort of testing out my Paladin. But that would be a really good one to take for the Meladrissus fight. But realistically, you can just heal those people. Blessing of Sacrifice. Whoever's got to take that chill circle out, just sack them on the way out. And then they take way less damage, and you can heal them when they're trying to survive as well. Also, Prot Paladin's quite good for explosives. You have 2 charges of Judgment and an Avenger's Shield. And so that makes dealing with the explosives very, very easy. Really love that. Let me get to 755. There's a chance where we get to use our AoE interrupt. It's right here, actually. It's coming up. So these guys here, these Flame Dancers, they do an ability called Flame Dance, and they're doing it right now. You can see both of them are doing Flame Dance. So I have my AoE interrupt here, Blinding Light, which is super strong here, and it gets to stop both of these Flame Dances from going up. If these Flame Dances go off, they do a big pulse of AoE damage, which is not okay. So I'm able to pop it right here and interrupt both of them. Boom. On the way out. So that's 2 Flame Dances dealt with 1 ability. Very, very efficient. But you also have Hammer of Justice. You can just hodge them, which is really good. Prot Paladin has so many ways to control the battlefield, which I really love about it. You can silence everybody with your Avenger's Shield. Divine Toll will silence everybody that's nearby. And then, of course, you can AoE interrupt with the Blinding Light. You can hodge right there. I just hodged the Flame Dancer from doing his thing once again. So there's just so much control that you have. And realistically, if any ability ever gets cast from, like, the mobs, it's probably your fault as a Prot Paladin. You should realistically be able to deal with any type of ability that's going on. Here's a Flame Dance that's going off. Unfortunately, all my cooldowns are down, so I do need somebody else to deal with that right now, and they're not going to. But you can see the pulsing damage that does. And again, even if it does go off, we can just wog people. I wog the Druid here. Boom. Gets full healed. He wasn't that low anyway, but I have Bastion of Light up, and I can use that for the next pack as well. Let me go to 945. I'll show you one more AoE interrupt here that was really significant. So right here, there's a Flame Dance going off once again. And there's a Burning Ambition going off as well, and we just AoE interrupt both of those things. Boom. That stops it from going off. We actually pulled an extra Dragon, which was not good, but this is, again, I have Bastion of Light that's up here. I pop Sentinel, so I'm literally fine. And I go stand in the bubble. A little bit late standing in that bubble there. But I'm perfectly fine. This is the one cool thing about Prot Paladin. It feels like you can always make yourself fine. You just pick one of your damage reduction abilities, you put that down, and then you can heal other people if you want to with your Holy Power. Because you're basically going to be fine. Like, you have 25% DR, 20% DR, 50% DR, 30% from Sentinel. Like, you're perfectly fine in most of these situations, and you can end up wogging other people to keep them alive, which is very cool. So just love that playstyle. It just feels really fun to me, being that extra support mechanism for your team whenever they need healing. You've got it, man. Whenever they need a 1-minute Blessing of Sacrifice, Blessing of Freedom, Blessing of Protection, whatever, you can just throw all these tools out to keep your party alive, and it always feels like I'm fine. Like, I never feel like I'm really in danger. There, I healed I sacked the healer there and healed him so he can focus on healing everybody else. Here's another Flame Dance going off, and I interrupted it with my AoE right there, the big Blinding Light. Again, just massive, massive CC. 2 Flame Dances are going off here, and a Cinderbolt. There's 1 Flame Dancer, but it's just, the value of that cannot be understated. It's like, that just saved, 500,000 health on our team, basically. So, really, really cool. Again, everybody's taking a lot of damage here. What can I do? I can wog people. Gotta generate some Holy Power. Wog the Mage. He's back to full. It's just awesome. It's just so, so good. Let's move to the next boss fight here. This is the Blaze Hoof. Now, you're supposed to do this the correct way, which is to bait the boulders in particular, a particular direction, and nobody did that on this fight. You see the mage is standing way over here. I wanted to walk this direction where the mage is standing right now, and then there's 2 people on this side. So anyway, it's fine. We end up messing it up. It doesn't matter because the Arcane Mage is just clapping cheeks here. But realistically, I would want to do this fight the right way, and what I would also want to say is that Prot Paladin has a lot of great tools, once again, to help heal the damage on this fight. This fight you just take so much AoE damage on this fight when the ad does its big Inferno cast. And as a Prot Paladin, it's so great, man. You can just press your Bastion of Light, for example, and just wog 3 people, and they're perfectly fine. So, lots of good tools to help deal with whatever problems are going on. Let's push through the trash here. Lots of AoE damage as well, of course, with Divine Toll. Avenger's Shield does a bunch of AoE damage when it bounces around. Really like that. Again, here's another example of places where you can kick your Avenger's Shield. I just kicked Flash Fire, but you can Avenger's Shield one mob and kick another mob, and then you could Divine Toll all the mobs. You can just interrupt everybody. You could Hodge something. There's just so many ways for you to control the enemies, and it feels really good to do that. So let's skip to the last boss fight here. I forget where it is. Here it is. Just finishing up these guys. Here's Eckhart here. The mage kept pulling, which was kind of annoying, but whatever. I just wanted to... I was trying to make things, you know, prim and proper, but he just kept pulling. On this fight, of course, you're just popping a DR, basically, to keep yourself safe from Eckhart's big tank slam. You want to always have that up. And then whoever's getting spat on, you could just Blessing of Sacrifice that person if they need it. Again, our damage here was outrageous. I don't know why these guys were doing so much damage, but they were, and that's fantastic. This is only a +10. It just felt, I don't know, it felt trivial this week on Fortified. These bosses were just really silly. Didn't do any damage to me at all. So, and this guy's not even that geared. Honestly, guys, I'm actually wearing an intellect weapon. I'm serious. I'm dead serious. I'm wearing an int weapon because I don't have a weapon yet for my Prot Paladin. So, you know, that's the thing. But on this fight, realistically, when triple flame spit comes out here, you can see I've already pre-sacked the healer, which is good. And then you could use something like Bastion of Light, which is coming off cooldown, to just wog people who get in the danger zone. It's so critical on this fight that people stay alive. And because this fight is so spread out, the spread, like, healing is very difficult to do. And so, for us, we're able to shore up some of the weakness there for any healer that needs help. Also, as a Prot Paladin here, you are 100% responsible for getting the explosives. You can see there's 2 explosives under the boss. The healer can't get them, which is typically what happens in dungeons because he's busy trying to heal up all the dots that are going out. Again, I know it doesn't look dangerous right here, but on a higher key, this would be really dangerous. So you have 2 charges of Judgment and an Avenger's Shield. You can get these explosives. Definitely get them. Don't wait for somebody else to get them. Just help your team out. Help your healer out in particular by getting those for him. So I'm really loving Prot Paladin. It feels like it has the essence of what a Prot Paladin wants to be. That support ability to just keep everybody alive, buy your healer a bunch of time, give all these support spells out just left, right, and center. Blessing of Freedom, Blessing of Protection, AoE Blind, Hodge, priority enemies. And then, of course, for yourself, you're keeping yourself alive with all of your big your damage reduction cooldowns. Ardent Defender, Divine Shield, taunting everybody. That's just invincibility for 8 seconds. Eye of Tyr. When you do Divine Toll, you get all the shields, which is really good. And then Guardian of Ancient Kings is huge as well. Sentinel, the new Avenging Wrath cooldown. It's just amazing, guys. It's amazing how many extra buttons you have to make this thing work. So that's my video that's my opening video for Prot Paladin. I'm going to do more videos on higher keys. I understand this wasn't a very big key. I just wanted to get a feel for it. Really kind of get myself back into the groove for Prot Paladin. Let me know what you guys think about Prot Paladin. How are you feeling about this spec right now? Have you played it a bunch? Are you enjoying it? I'd love to hear from you in the comments down below. Thank you so much again for watching, guys. I love you all. I will see you in the next one.